Hey, you guys, so I'm back again with another message. And this particular message God had me write down last night. I'm in the book of Ezekiel, and pretty much God was telling me to um, tell his children, including myself, to speak even when they don't listen. Um, Being a mouthpiece for God, being a vessel for God is not always easy, and we don't always give the good messages. Sometimes we bring messages of judgment, sometimes we bring messages of correction. And of death and all those things. And a lot of people don't like it, but you have to speak it anyway. Speak even when they don't listen. Because again, the blood will be on your hands if you don't. And so it can get weary. I'm not going to sit here and story to you. It can get weary when you have to go deliver a judgmental message to someone, and then knowing good and well that 9 times out of 10 they're not gonna listen, knowing good and well that 9 times out of 10 they might turn against you and try to war and fight against you and go to unholy places, um, to try to destroy you, to try to take you out, even try to ruin your character, make people get a totally different persona, or just try to give people like a totally different version of you when that's not it. Basically producing lies, trying to scandalize your name, defamation of character. That stuff come with the territory, y'all. And it can get weary sometimes, especially when, for me, the person is kind of close, like friends, and then excuse me out, and then you have to, God speaks to you and tell you that you have to give this person a word of correction. Excuse me out. And y'all, that's not easy. There has been messages where God has used me in that type of way, and I'm prophesying to them with tears running down my face because I had to tell it because I'm a mouthpiece for God. I had to tell it because I'm a vessel for God. And then it hurts me to have to tell them what thus says the Lord, knowing good and well there's a strong possibility that they might be disobedient. Knowing good and well that there's a strong possibility that if they don't do what God has told them to do, that sometimes it can cost them their life, or it can cause them to start a generational curse. I had people to go through so many things because they came up against me because I was telling the truth. God was using me to tell things that nobody knew but him. And I was telling them, and they were just looking at me shocked, like, how do you know that? So you know it's coming from God, but you still get upset and get angry and choose to do the opposite and harden your heart. And it can be hard, like I said, to keep speaking when you know that so many people um reject you, when you know that so many people will try to make it seem like you're crazy or have mental issues. But then what also is hard to me, because I have a heart for God's people, is to actually see them go through that judgment when they had the opportunity and the chance to listen and be obedient. And during this process, I really had to get tough skin, and I really had to learn how to like set healthy boundaries and standards, and to distance myself, so when God starts going through this judgment with these people for their disobedience, that I don't take it personal because they were warned. And God in Ezekiel chapter 2, and this is where God was commissioning Ezekiel, and I had to be reminded to speak even when they don't listen. Um, so whoever this message is for, speak even when they don't listen. So I'm gonna read chapter 2, and hopefully chapter 2 will encourage you. Ezekiel chapter 2. Stand up, son of man, said the voice. I want to speak with you. The Spirit came into me as he spoke, and he set me on my feet. I listened carefully to his words. Son of man, he said, I am sending you to the nations of Israel, a rebellious nation that have rebelled against me. They and their ancestors have been rebelling against me to this very day. They are stubborn and hard hearted people. But I am sending you to say to them, this is what the sovereign Lord says. And whether they listen or refuse to listen, for remember, they are rebels. At least they will know they have a prophet among them. Son of man, do not fear them or their words. Do not be afraid, even though their threats surround you like needles and bears and stinging scorpions. Stinging scorpions. Do not be dismayed by their dark scrolls, even though they are rebels. You must give them my message, whether they listen or not. But they won't listen, for they are completely rebellious. Son of man, listen to what I say to you. Do not join them in their rebellion. Open your mouth and eat what I give you. Then I looked and I saw a hand reaching out to me. It had a scroll, which he unrolled, and I saw that both sides were covered with funeral songs, words of sorrow, and pronouncements of doom. Y'all, this is Ezekiel chapter 2, and this is where Ezekiel and God was having a conversation. Y'all, you got to speak anyway, even when they don't listen. Even when you can see that judgment that's going to come their way if they don't do it. Even when you see that death that's waiting on them to be rebellious so the death angel can take them, you still got to speak what God has told you to speak, even when they don't listen. And it's hard. Like I told you guys, it's hard. Because every word is not going to be a, 2 points in a shout type word. No, it's not. Some words are judgment. Some words are correction. Like even with Isaiah talked about judgment, and then he talked about God's promises, the prosperity. Like, yes, but even with Jeremiah, but Isaiah, he had to say what thus says the Lord. Ezekiel had to say what thus says the Lord. And you had to say it anyway. You have to talk about it anyway. I'm seeing a lot of people who just want to talk about the good things of God. That's good, but we serve a God of justice. We serve a God of grace, but we also serve a God of judgment. And we are entering into the end times, and you have to speak and talk about it even when they don't listen. So whoever this message is for, whether you're on YouTube, whatever, what type of platform, you have to speak. You have to put it out there, even when nobody don't listen, because there's going to come a time where they're going to look for a prophet, and a prophet is not going to be found. They were warned, right? Warning come before destruction. And it's up to them to use their free will to be obedient or not. So speak, even when they don't listen, and stay encouraged. Like I said, it can be hard, especially when God has used you as a mouthpiece in your family or in your circle to try to warn and try to get people to come to Christ, and they want to be rebellious and they want to, threaten you and all this other stuff and try to ruin your character. It can be hard, but just know that God is with you. Just know that God is going to cover you. Just know that God is going to protect you. But speak anyway, even though they might not listen. All right, you guys, I love you all. I pray that you all have an amazing day, and I will chat with you all later.